On February the 10th this year, this was reported. And well, the reaction from some people was interesting. Think about this. There were a large number of people thinking the Warriors should have not just traded away a 20-year-old Jonathan Kuminga for OG Anunoby, but added multiple first-round picks as well. Well, since the All-Star break, which was roughly around the time this was reported, these are the numbers of those two players. Now, this is not to say Jonathan Kuminga is better than OG, or even to compare the two, but at just 20 years old, Kuminga is untouchable in any discussions not centered around a superstar-level player, and that's because you can't teach some of the traits he has.
The bench doesn't know what to do with themselves. What just happened?
How about I show you two highlights from just one game that most players won't have in a career. Here he is on an island with Aldama, a quick little hezzy, and just look at the velocity at which he dunks with his left hand. Now how about at the start of the next quarter? Let me pause right here. What do you think Kuminga is about to do? If you answered detonate on Desmond Bane's head, you were correct. But being able to dunk isn't what makes Jonathan Kuminga so special. It's pairing this absurd athleticism with a unique skill set and a willingness to defend. But more importantly than all of those things, a willingness to improve. Right here is the scouting report on JK from before the draft. I want to highlight this just to show how much he's already grown as a player. His first weakness was being a poor decision maker that often gets flustered when the first read isn't there. So I guess he wouldn't be good at doing things like this. Here he is with a smaller defender on him. He's looking to be aggressive. Two defenders then help over. JK recognizes the initial pass to Lamb is cut off, so instead he catches the defense out with a nice pass to J-Mike. Or in this play, where once JK beats the initial defender, he recognizes the help and makes a perfect pass to a rolling Loon. But before we talk more about his weaknesses and what he's improved on, there's a reason Kuminga was drafted 7th overall that I think a lot of people have forgotten. Kuminga wasn't drafted so high just because of his athleticism and because he could defend. He was drafted so high because of the potential he has to be so much more. Now, we haven't seen it much this year because, well, if you haven't heard, the Warriors have a few pretty good players that won them a championship last year, but every so often, we see glimpses of what JK can do, like on plays where Kuminga hits defenders with a few dribble combinations before pulling up. And so none of these plays are crazy, but that's because he's playing within the offense. If you take a look at some of his G League highlights from before he was drafted, you'll see that he has a lot more in his bag than a lot of people think. But regardless of that, just the fluidity at which he is able to get to his spots from the mid-range is what's particularly promising. And it's important that JK continues to develop this mid-range and three-point jump shot because it leads to plays like this. Here he is isolated on the wing against Paul George, a 4x all-defensive player with very similar measurables to Kuminga. Kuminga hits him with a quick jab step into a pump fake, and the moment Paul George jumps on that pump fake, it is over and Kuminga gets straight to the rim. With the level of quickness he has, if any defenders bite on any jab steps or pump fakes from the mid-range or three-point line, he's getting to the rim every single time, which is why it's crucial he develops at least a somewhat respectable shot. And shooting 43% from 3 on 2.5 attempts over the last 30 games is a very good start. But it's not just his quickness either. It's easy to forget that JK is 6'7", 225 pounds, which are identical measurements to Kawhi Leonard, and that allows him to bully smaller defenders when he has a post-up, like on this play against Kyrie, which is just unfair, or on this play against Alexander Walker, where he just bullies him under the basket. But it's more than just being a bully. He even shows off some finesse as well, like here against Shea, where he creates just enough separation with a bump before rising up. Just to remind everyone, he's only 20 years old, and he's not only shown that he can consistently bully smaller defenders when he gets the ball in the post, but on defense, well, we may as well talk about his defense, because would you believe it, one of the weaknesses of Kuminga heading into the draft was related to his defense. Now, in fairness, they questioned his defensive intensity, not his potential, but I think it's fair to say that the same guy who has been tasked with guarding the opposition's best perimeter player every game that Andrew Wiggins has missed this season has a pretty good level of defensive intensity, and it's not just on the ball either. Take this play for example, where Kuminga helps over as Reed has Steph in the post, before he's then able to rotate back out to Edwards and contest the shot, or on this play where he forces Embiid into passing before, well, making PJ Tucker do that. Now imagine if you paired this level of defensive intensity off the ball with the ability to guard, I don't know, Luka Doncic on one night, and then Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons on another night. That would make for a pretty good defender. Don't just take it from me, how about you take it from the best defender of this generation? I have no doubt in my mind that he can check just about anybody. He has the size, has the strength, has the quickness, has the length. Everything you want in a defender, he kind of has. As he figures out angles and figures out what guys like to get to, all those different things, he'll continue to get better and better. I love that he's taking on those challenges. You'll see some guys shy away in moments like that. He's not shying away from challenges at all, and it's beautiful to see. But JK even said himself that that's what he wants to do. He wants to take on the best offensive player every single night.
I'm really capable of doing pretty much everything on the floor. Being one of those two-way players that the world I haven't seen yet. And I feel like I'm working towards that grind.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, the way I look at myself, being the best player in the league, being the best defender in the league.
And that's not where the criticism's finished either, because another criticism of Kuminga's game heading into the draft was the fact he can be a ball stopper. And well, I think it's pretty obvious he shed that label pretty quickly. If you want examples to back that up, I can give you those as well. Here's one. On this play, he recognizes Curry being corralled, so he cuts to the right spot and makes a perfect touch pass to Green for the dunk. Quite literally not stopping the ball for more than a second. You could argue sometimes Kuminga is even too unselfish and doesn't utilize the unique traits he has. But in a team that has Steph Curry, Paul, Thompson, and Wiggins, being unselfish isn't necessarily a bad thing. But last year in particular, we got a few glimpses of what JK could look like in an improved role when all the starters sat. And look no further than his 26-point performance against Toronto, where he showed off his whole bag. Here he is backing down Scotty Barnes for an easy hook shot. Or how about this dribble handoff with Loon before eviscerating Boucher at the rim? In addition to this, he made 4 3-pointers, including this one where he punished the defender for going underneath the screen. And it's not just one-off performances from last year. The numbers back it up, because over his first 2 years in the league, Kuminga has started 28 games, some of which with the starters and some of which not. But in those games, he's averaging 12 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists on good efficiency. But that's not even what makes Jonathan Kuminga's potential so scary. It's that he was supposed to be a project player, and 2 years into his career, the Warriors have enough trust to start him in crucial games for playoff seeding, knowing that he will deliver, and come playoff time, he will be crucial for the team off the bench as well. Anyways, if you did make it all the way to the end of the video, a like would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe to the channel for more. Have a great day. Bye.